This video, we're going to talk through this situation where we have a woman who is working in a very prestigious Silicon Valley tech company, and she's essentially talking through her day in the life of working. And it really does raise the question, to what extent is the workplace for a lot of adults simply daycare and or nursery and not the office? Lots of people go to work, they're not doing a lot of work, they're getting paid very high six-figure salaries, and they have quite an easy lifestyle. So let's see what her lifestyle's like and provide a bit of commentary there.
Jobs that would make for fascinating content. A day in the life of a Silicon Valley pencil pusher doesn't exactly measure up. Yet even so, Nicole Tsai posted this. Here it is.
Day in my life working from the Google LA office. I always grab some candy from the reception before heading in. This used to be an old aircraft hangar, so the decorations hanging from the ceiling kind of looks like an aircraft flying in. Before it was a Google office, this aircraft hangar belonged to Howard Hughes, so there's tons of memorabilia. Next, I'm gonna pass by these art installations.
So one thing you see here is that, the companies you're working for will spend a lot of money on these fancy offices when essentially you're going to work. But what they're doing with this agenda that they're pushing is that rather than allowing you workplace flexibility to work from home and have remote work, rather than spending more money on employees, on providing them with training, flexibility to work from home, as I say, or more control and autonomy over their work, they're wasting this money by essentially making the workplace some kind of second home where it's like a socializing environment. They want you to spend all your time at the work office. Maybe they have a workplace gym. They have all these fancy offices with these weird art designs, and all this company money is being wasted. And you're thinking, hold on, I prefer to have a bigger salary, and rather than you waste it on these pointless artwork, right? You got to have a basic office with basic civilized, a water cooler, some office equipment, maybe some art and things like that. But all of these types of things are such a waste of money and a waste of time, and they really want the workplace to become your kind of home that you kind of spend most of your time in, which is kind of weird. And it really does attract these type of people like the woman making this video, where all these small perks are fooling her to thinking she's in a good position when she's in a job typically where she has one source of her income, which is getting a lot of pay for not doing much work, playing office politics, maybe could have been hired or promoted on the basis of her gender, and things like that, or her liberal woke beliefs, which are a massive focus for companies now instead of people who can actually get the work done.
They're a really good photo op, or you can sit in there and get some work done. I'm gonna head to the coffee shop to grab some coffee and a fruit cup since I missed breakfast, and then I'm heading over to this butterfly themed room to take my first meeting. Then I'm gonna head over to the confetti room to take my next meeting. It's so sparkly and beautiful in here. I love that a lot of our rooms are themed. Then I'm gonna grab my two favorite drinks, which is this green tea and coconut water.
So again, you saw a bit more of the pointless offices, and you really got to think about when you're working, you want to make money, right? And this whole thing is an illusion that companies do to help you forget you're here to make money. You don't have a secure job at the company. They could fire you at any moment. They're not your friends. They're not your family. They don't care about you. You're at the work to get the work done. And they've turned the workplace environment into a daycare center. And you see this at many other top finance firms. They think, the workplace is some kind of fun activity daycare center, like I say, for adults. And is it really where men want to work, or is it where women want to socialize? And I think that's a point that I really want to point out here. Is this an environment, and ask yourself this question, leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Is this an environment where men want to work, or where women want to socialize? Because if I look at this, the sparkling colors, the bright pink and whatever other colors they've got there, these fancy artwork designs, is this where men actually want to work? Because if you ask men to design an office, it probably won't look like this. It'd probably be kind of minimalistic with basic work equipment, the laptops, the PCs, maybe adjustable height desks, some natural sunlight, things like this. But it looks like this has been designed by women who kind of just want to have fun in a socialized environment. It looks like a nightclub bar type of environment, like an early evening, the type of place you'd go for drinks at after work. It doesn't look like the type of place you'd actually work at. So it's kind of a weird environment. And then you got these kind of overpriced food. I think she mentioned some of this might be free as part of a company's benefits and perks. And when I say free, probably cut from your salary, because they're not going to be paying you as much when they're providing these benefits. A lot of these things are overpriced, and they do contain a lot of maybe harmful chemicals in the packaging and so on. And it's kind of fooling you to think that this is a nice place. You're not considering all the money you're wasting each day on these type of items.
Next, I'm gonna go upstairs and grab some lunch. They always have pizza and a variety of different vegetables and meat. The food is always really good, and of course, everything you see in the office is free. On my way out of the cafe, I ran into a doogler, which is a dog googler.
Now, that's really an interesting point. Like, why is there just randomly a dog here?
On my way out of the cafe, I ran into...
Why is there just randomly a dog here? Like, a dog just... I don't know what to say. Like, this is not an environment where men go to work. If you make the workplace environment hyper efficient, hyper effective, the work can get done within a 9 to 5 environment, right? Rather than spilling over to 8 to 6 or becoming highly inefficient, right? And what they want you to do through brainwashing you and seeing your workplace as a second home, they want your life to revolve around work. They want you to go to the work gym, only socialize with co-workers. I worked at other banks I won't mention right now, where they would they had a workplace gym, and it basically become a social environment. And the company I was working for and the people I were working for, my team, they kept telling me, oh, you have to go there and network in the workplace gym. I'd rather go to the gym to use the gym for the gym equipment. And it was just a weird environment where everything was about, socializing. Your life had to revolve around work and the workplace office if you wanted to develop your career. It didn't have very much to do with your work ability, but your ability to kind of play the social game at work. And that's what really helps you succeed. It's not the person who works hardest who does good quality work.
To a doogler, which is a dog googler, and ran into some ghosts. When they were renovating the office, there were a lot of spooky stories from the crew. So there's a whole area in the office where you can listen to them. Then I got more work done and headed over to the massage chairs to wrap up my day. Let me know what you want to see at Google. So I woke up to the...
So now we're going to switch and move forward to an instance where she was actually losing her job, right? And you got to really think this through, because essentially the companies, because this is something I know a lot of people are going to struggle to accept, but this is the reality of a lot of these corporate environments, right? In the sense that you think that studying hard is going to pay off in a sense, and it can to a certain extent to get in some of these top jobs. But what they're looking for now is they want people like her, not because of their work ethic, because it doesn't look like she has a strong work ethic. They want them because they have the right ideology, because we don't have a competence-based hierarchy where people who are competent, good, hardworking people or honest people or honorable people succeed throughout the corporate hierarchy or even the society's hierarchy in general. It's people who have the right ideology. And what ideology is that? That ideology is essentially an ideology of liberalism, feminism, the woke culture, the woke movement, gender ideology, supporting climate change activism, all of that type of stuff. That's what the company wants to hire, because that's the ideology they're pushing through their company. They're not focused on profits. They're not focused on things like that. And she is one of these types of people that the company will treat like she's a princess, like she's a special person, because she's pushing those ideologies. But because she's not a productive person, when the companies have to look and put their ideology, their woke ideology of liberalism, feminism, and all those other things to one side, they've got to think, who's the productive person and who's making money? The person that you've been treating like a second-class citizen, probably a man who's just going to get the work done and not spending his days socializing there the whole time, the type of people they get rid of, and they keep these type of people. Unless it's comes down to profit, like we can see right now with a recession going on, and she's the type of person who'll lose her job in those instances. So let's listen to her here.
This really ominous text from my boss, and I honestly had no idea what it was going to be about. So I called her the minute I woke up and saw this, and she told me to check the news and my email. So I rushed downstairs to find out that I had lost access to basically everything. I couldn't log into my email or even check my calendar. I called my boss back, and we just sobbed over the phone because she was also finding out about my layoff for the first time today too. I started getting calls from a bunch of my
So a couple of funny things here. Firstly, the job that apparently cares about you so much, when they want to fire you, you just immediately lose access to your systems. You can't even log in, which is kind of crazy, because they think you might spread company information or retaliate in that way. No one really cares. Your co-workers are not your friends. You mentioned speaking to her co-workers briefly and them talking to her. You know, the co-workers that you have that you think are your friends, give it a couple years, you're not going to be talking to them. They won't be talking to you. They won't even know your name. They'll forget your name, right? So your co-workers are not your friends. Her manager who says, oh, I found out that you're going to be laid off for the first time today. That's completely a lie. She would have known and been part of the process of selecting who to lay off for the past couple months. So you're dealing with a completely fake environment. And it's kind of weird. So let's listen to a bit more about what she was saying here.
workers and started finding out who else was let go on my team and some neighboring teams as well. But I think the worst part is that it seems like no one was consulted on this decision and everyone was just finding out about the layoffs at the same time. It just felt like a really bad game of Russian roulette, and there was no consistency around who was let go. It was also not performance-based, so it just felt really random. I opened up...
She said it was not performance-based, so it felt really random and it felt like Russian roulette. And Russian roulette is basically when you have a gun and you have a bullet and you have 6 rounds within that kind of gun, and only one of those sections have a bullet that could essentially end your life, right? And what she's trying to say here is that the redundancies the layoffs were done randomly, right? In a sense, not performance based. So this is what I'm trying to say, that the company you work for, it's not necessarily looking out for your best interest. You could be laid off at any moment. That's why you need to focus on your savings, investments, building your own business and things like that. So we're just going to finish up here and move forward a bit. I'll just turn the sound off for a second. What we're going to see is that, she's dealing with this layoff and then she goes on a bit of a trip to kind of make herself feel better, spending a lot of money on expensive junk food and going on a trip to Disneyland. That's where she's at right now. Now, I really think about this sometimes. I don't want to make it too personal. I don't know this person, but how would you normally deal with a layoff? I'm not saying you should go and be depressed or feel sorry for yourself, but like spending money on an expensive trip to Disneyland when you're being laid off is probably not the smart decision, right? And that's my thoughts there, right? And it really, I don't want to make this all about gender, but I do think about how would a man react to a layoff versus a woman. And I don't think a man would really going to Disneyland in those instances and blowing money. He'd be a bit more responsible, and maybe other women would, but this woman clearly wasn't. So I just want to talk about that childish nature of people. You seem quite a childish person and immature at work, wasting time, and she did the same thing in her layoff. She didn't kind of learn from a lesson or really reflect from why she'd been laid off, right? And this is the type of reality, like I say, a lot of people have to deal with. I have worked with people like this woman many times, and it's like highly questionable to what extent. Why was she hired? Was it on the basis of gender, on the basis of her ability? Is she just here to have fun and socialize and chit chat with co-workers and delegate the work for other people or men to do and things like that? It really does make you think. And I do want to point out, so there's lots of nuance here. There's a lot of criticism we can make here. As a side note, I just want to look through some of the comments here that do echo what I'm saying. The first comment says, if you can fire 75% of your workforce and your company still runs fine, you're not running a company, you're running a daycare. And this company had fired many people, and you can see many of the comments are saying, what productive things was she adding? How can we justify it? She's been able to work at this company for so long. What has she done in terms of work? Now, this really does make you think when you see comments like this, because there's many other people that like I think like you think, but we're not given that freedom of speech at work. You see completely ridiculous things and you just try to get through it because you can't really comment on it because of the political correctness. So let's just finish up here. So I've worked at some of these big name companies before. I've seen some of the good and bad work cultures. But what I'm here to do right now is offer you some kind of solution, because it probably is frustrating also for you to deal with those type of privileged types who live carefree, and you maybe end up doing their the work for them because they're not working hard enough. And there are 3 solutions I offer people. First is a free ebook, which you can find in the description. The second is a free call with me, and I can help guide you through career and finance situations to help develop your situation to a stronger position. And the third is the control program, where I provide you with some detailed career coaching one-on-one to help you find career fulfillment, time freedom, so you can be rich forever and live a life you love. So whether that's changing your career path or carefully mapping that out, providing you with some kind of remote jobs or hybrid work opportunities, looking in terms of being rich forever through managing your budget, savings and investments. These are all the type of things I can help with. So thanks for watching. There are 2 recommended videos on the screen right now, a free ebook in the description, and I'll see you next time.